Somewhere between the farm and your fork, something invisible slipped through. Not a dramatic Hollywood virus, not a chemical spill, a microscopic parasite, small enough to escape notice, large enough to hospitalize families across America. Thousands have become ill. Recalls continue. Investigators are racing backward through one of the most complex food distribution systems ever created. We've built a food network capable of feeding hundreds of millions of people every day. But what happens when one weak link stretches across dozens of states? Today isn't just about lettuce. It's about trust. Trust in regulators, trust in corporations, trust in labels, trust in the food sitting in your refrigerator right now. History reminds us that societies are only as strong as the systems they depend upon. And when those systems begin to crack, people start asking uncomfortable questions. So, how secure is America's food supply? Let's find out.
Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Stoney.
Hello.
And Jason.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going?
Oh, we're doing pretty good.
I got a question.
All right.
Starting right off.
Okay.
How are we supposed to know the difference between normal Taco Bell violent shits and Cyclospora explosive shits? How do you know the difference?
I guess the only thing would be the frequency.
I can't. The frequency, okay. Nice.
I haven't eaten at Taco Bell and
good
Lord.
I used to love Taco Bell.
I did
ain't
too.
gonna lie. I loved it.
When I was in college and my younger years. I ate all that kind of stuff, and I wouldn't even think of running to a Taco Bell today.
Okay, so first off, there's a difference, and a lot of people are getting this wrong. The difference is cyclosporasis and cycloporia. All right, cyclosporasis is actually the illness that is caused by the cyclopora.
Whatever. Bacteria,
or whatever. So it's like this long. So there is a difference. So people, hopefully, will help you out there. I just can't say it right. So
nice.
So we'll just say explosive diarrhea.
Yeah, this thing has just completely. We've unfortunately have to deal with this. It seemed like every so often that it pops up, and it seemed like it's happening a lot more frequently now. And there's, you can probably trace these issues back to, sanitary conditions and probably these farms where this stuff is picked and then, ultimately washed and then eventually packaged, and I guarantee you I think it was Taylor Farms is where it seemed like the problem has been traced to. But, most of these bags, I'd be very curious if it has on the bag triple washed.
Yeah.
But even when you do the research, washing it won't take it off.
Correct.
Really?
Because basically this is a third world type virus. Mm-hmm. This is something that does impact and other ones like it in the United States every couple of years. But this particular one doesn't come from a farm in America. This comes from this is a Mexican type situation. And what you have to understand is Ian, if you had to go to the bathroom, where are you going to go?
To the bathroom?
To the bathroom.
Yeah.
So in third world countries, people won't take the time. They're paid by how many lettuce they pick. And,
I see.
And et cetera. So what they're going to do is they're going to just bend down, pull their pants down, and take a crap right in the field. They're not going to go do. So this is a poop type situation that they're putting it in it. And what happens is it takes a couple of weeks for that process to happen. And so, what you're doing is they're walking through it. They're getting it on their hands. They're not washing it. In America, you wash your hands how many times a day?
Oh, yeah.
Especially in the food service. But these people don't do that. And so it gets from their shoes to their hands to the product. Then it takes a couple of weeks for process. You can wash it all you want. That doesn't guarantee that it's going to take the virus off of it or parasite off of it.
Right.
So
yeah, they say a sample of shredded iceberg lettuce from Taylor Farms, De Mexico, was tested positive for Cyclospora. Federal health officials said. I'm reading an article on Microsoft MSN, and they're basically saying they've expanded the company's expanded into a multi-state recall tied to a growing multi-state outbreak.
And that's Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia, although there are other states, including Louisiana, that are involved.
Yeah, they said the positive test result comes after Taylor Farms announced it was voluntary recalling iceberg lettuce sourced from central Mexico, while removing all such lettuce from the U.S. market. So they're right now trying to get rid of it. But the problem is, one thing I learned, and it takes about 50 to 60 days for the FDA to actually take action because there's usually about that much time between all of a sudden people are getting sick to the actual FDA gets word of it and then begins the process of trying to track it down. So that's a lot of lettuce probably people are consuming during that time. And of course, everybody is getting sick from it. So they say the recall covers 12-ounce and 24-ounce bags of market-side iceberg salad, as well as 8-ounce and 16-ounce bags of market-side shredded iceberg lettuce.
What is market side? That's Walmart.
Yeah, you're right.
That's Walmart.
Walmart's brand.
So not only is it the Walmart stuff, it's the Taco Bell stuff, and you're going down the line because it's the same lettuce, just packaged differently for different institutions.
Yeah, it was distributed between June 29th and July 16th with the best if used by dates ranging from July 18th through August 3rd, according to the FDA.
Wow.
So right now they're looking in Michigan at 1,200 cases, Ohio 500 cases, Indiana 50, Kentucky 25, and West Virginia 25 cases. There are no deaths reported so far in this other than the fact you wish you were dead after spending,
a whole day on the
24
toilet.
hours to 48 hours on the toilet.
Yep.
So
they said the effective lettuce was distributed. I don't know if it was distributed in 27 states.
Okay.
So there's a lot of
the country. Yeah, over
half the country.
That's what I'm saying. There are other states involved, but these caught it the worst. And the verified outbreak connections are Taco Bell, Taylor Farms de Mexico, Taylor Fresh Foods, Walmart Market Side, other unnamed restaurants, which I do have some name, and it's Exact Farm, Field, Water Source, and Sanitation Failure is the root contamination points, which is exactly what I was saying a few minutes ago.
Interesting.
But Market Side's the big one because think about that. That's how many Walmarts did that go to?
Oh, a lot.
And Miranda and I used to love a couple of the little prepackaged salads there. We went to the grocery store this weekend and going, "Hey, baby, you want a salad?" "No, I don't want no damn salad."
Don't want no salad.
Not this time.
Yeah, and they said the Taco Bell restaurants. They said the agency said that not every Taco Bell restaurant in the 5 states received lettuce from this supplier. The agency's investigating illnesses in Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio, and West Virginia. And has advised consumers in those states not to eat shredded iceberg lettuce from Mexico served at Taco Bell restaurants. The problem is that particular virus It is very hardy, and I know Stoney mentioned how difficult it is to wash off. If you use cold water, all it does is spread it.
Oh,
You have to use you have to use very, very hot water.
Which guess what that does to your lettuce?
Oh, it wilts it.
Yeah,
Cooks it.
It doesn't. It's you got to like remove the first 3 layers.
But I bet you Bill Gates is going to come up with a wash that's going to take it right off. But it's an mRNA wash.
No.
I bet you that happens. Watch.
They say
He'll just make a tick that'll make you allergic to it.
Yeah, they say Cyclospora is a microscopic parasite that can cause severe diarrhea, nausea, stomach cramps, fatigue, and other gastrointestinal symptoms. And
the biggest one is
all
the
been
water.
there.
The water. It's watery diarrhea.
Yep.
And then stomach cramps or pain, bloating, excessive gas.
Interesting.
That's a key to me. That was nausea, loss of appetite.
I guess we
unintended weight loss, severe fatigue, low-grade
gosh.
fever, headache, body aches, and occasional vomiting because it's messed up your system so much. Wow, now you're going to go at both ends.
It's just trying to kick everything out.
That doesn't sound fun.
I guess we should.
And they can improve and return because you can treat symptoms, but it's going to take it back over and come back on you, and it can last several days, several weeks. And in some cases, it looks like it's going to go for more than a month in some people.
Yikes.
Who wants to live like that?
I was going to make a joke. I was like, I guess we should have done like a little viewer discretion advised. Don't eat while you listen to this episode because it's going to probably make you feel a little, nauseous to think about it. What do you call it whenever you overthink? You're a hypochondriac? Anybody who's a hypochondriac, don't listen to this episode. I think I may have had lettuce this week at some point.
I'm going to be honest with you. I have not been eating salad lately. No. I've really kind of shot away.
Better safe than sorry.
But
I love a good salad.
But it's not just lettuce.
Yeah.
It's been tied to blueberries, strawberries, watermelon, cilantro, parsley.
And I eat all that.
I know. Yep.
I eat all that.
Yeah.
I really do. It's unfortunately it can the incubation period I think is about 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's why I was mentioning that earlier. It's
you can cover the symptoms, but
it's before it becomes infectious. So it's
like with most viruses, it kind of takes its time.
It takes its time. It can survive on a dry surface for about a week.
Get out.
Yeah,
but lettuce isn't dry.
Right.
You're right.
Lettuce is mostly water.
Any other surface that's dirty or wet, I mean, it can last for a while. And what happens, it forms a cyst around itself, and that's how it protects itself. So it's very difficult to pierce that cyst. So it's very difficult. I had a friend of mine one time told me at a local restaurant. He goes, during the last, if y'all recall, maybe a couple years ago, there was a big deal with lettuce, and he told me, he goes, look, we get this lettuce. They say it's washed. We triple wash it again. Right. He goes, there is no way
to get it off.
Nope. It just isn't. So it's like, once again, it goes back to kind of, what's going on with the food supply here? I mean, is this the inherent weakness that the supply chain has right now?
Yeah.
Because these fields, unfortunately, these workers that are being employed to pick all this lettuce, a lot of them don't have access to bathrooms, hand washing stations.
Yeah.
I've had people tell me, I mean, sometimes they just use the bathroom in the field.
Well, that's what I said earlier, and that's what happened. But even what's happening more is we're outsourcing this outside of America. We're destroying our farmers here. But I can remember seeing migrant workers in farms in America. And what did they do? You had the migrant workers that would go from here to there, and they would do this. And you had these trailers with porta potties on them. You provided people a place to go outside. So it was rare that you heard about something like this coming from American farms. But now that we're outsourcing most of this, it seems like there's an uptick in how often this is happening. That just seems to be me. And I would like to say this. I am not a doctor or a medical professional.
Right.
But a couple of things that they are talking about that we really need to look at if you catch this is oral rehydration solutions, electrolyte monitoring, and assessment of kidney function. And any type of nutritional support when your weight loss is significant. And if you're having, 2 to 4 weeks of explosive watery diarrhea, you need to look at that. And in some cases, even intravenous fluids have been put into people.
Yeah.
Right.
And you need to also think about this. If you think you've got this, contact your doctor and review your medication list, because some medications they worsen dehydration as you're taking them. So you need to think about that when you contact your doctor. Stay in touch with them.
Yeah.
And say symptoms generally begin 2 to 14 days after eating.
2 to 14 days?
Yes, that's how long it takes.
Oh, my gosh.
And they say routine stool tests frequently miss this.
Dang.
Yeah.
Imagine eating a salad and then almost 2 weeks later, you just...
Exactly.
That's crazy.
And right now, it's about 8.6% of people that got it are hospitalized.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
They say without treatment, symptoms may come and go for several weeks or even months. Right now, I was reading there's a guy in Ohio suing Taco Bell for being sick for 2 weeks.
Get out.
Can you imagine having explosive diarrhea for 2 weeks?
Absolutely
I can't imagine. I don't like it once. But here's what I want to kind of go over. I touched on it a minute ago. Of in America, when our farmers were producing our food and stuff like that, something like this happened in 77 and 78. This was one of the first documents of this virus or parasite. Then it was 1990. Then it was 96. Then it was 97. Then it was 99. Then you had a little break in it. Then it was 2013, then 18, then 19, then 20, then 22, and now 26. Seems like we're getting this a little bit more often, doesn't it, since we put our farmers out of work and started outsourcing this to Mexico and other countries.
Right.
And, before it was sometimes it was outsourced, but it's just the more we bring this into America, it seems we're more hurting ourselves.
But it's all about the money.
Oh, sure.
It's all cheap. It's
definitely
cheaper.
about the money.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I think this feeds into what a lot of people why this kind of like push for socialism and against capitalism and, it's just kind of one of those things where when you are a for-profit, you're always looking for ways to cut costs, to maximize profit for investors into the company, because anybody that puts money or buy stock, what do they want to do? They want to make money on money.
That number got to go up.
Money's got to go up constantly. So,
but in America, what we do is we're destroying ourselves by protecting ourselves and protecting our children so much. You go to Mexico or somewhere else. What's the first rule?
Don't drink the water.
Don't drink the water.
Okay.
Don't use the ice. Yeah. Don't do this. So when you're looking at Central America, South America, Latin America generally, a lot of places in the Caribbean, South and Southeast Asia and other tropical or subtropical areas, don't drink the water. Don't do this. Be careful what you eat. Wash your hands often. If it doesn't have alcohol in it, be prepared to get the shits, right? If it's not killing it, hey, maybe that's it. Maybe we need to wash our lettuce and vodka.
Yes.
Oh, well, okay.
Why not?
Hey, what if we, a little better than Bill Gates' mRNA vegetable and fruit wash?
How come my salad's making me drunk?
They say the parasite is transmitted.
Work party will be better.
It's transmitted through food or water contaminated with human fecal matter. So unlike norovirus, which everybody's familiar with norovirus, it is not normally spread directly from one person to another because the parasite must mature in the environment before becoming infectious. Kind of what I mentioned, that it takes some time for it to actually to get to where it makes you sick. So,
so here it goes. It says the infected person sheds oocysts. It's OOCYSTS. Y'all can please write in and tell me how to pronounce that right. Human waste contaminates water, soil, drainage equipment, and or production environment. The oocyst remains outside of the body long enough to become infectious. Irrigation water, flooding, spray water, hand handling, wash water, soil splash equipment, or hands transfer the infectious oocyst to the produce. The lettuce is then harvested, cut, shredded, packaged, and distributed. And because it's eaten raw, there is no cooking step to kill the parasite. And then think about this. The large processor distributes the product to restaurants and retailer networks, and patients become ill days to weeks later. More time passes before testing, reporting, interviews, and time track. By the time the source is suspected, much of the food may have been eaten and or discarded. Well, you're going to discard it one way or the other.
Yeah. I was reading a 2025 International Food Information Council survey. They surveyed 3,000 American adults. Said only 55% were confident in the safety of the U.S. food supply. That ain't very high.
That's not.
Confidence fell from 70% in 2023 and 62% in 2024, so it's continuing to drop. Only 11% describe themselves as very confident. Among people lacking confidence, 59% believe profit was prioritized over safety.
There you go.
Fist and bump Ian, because he just said money.
Yeah. 50.
So a few people got sick. It's okay. We're still making money. We can't. We have to keep outsourcing it.
Yeah. 54% believe different parts of the food system failed to work together. 46% blame insufficient government regulation. 43% pointed to excessive food recalls, and 50% rank foodborne illnesses among the three leading food safety concerns.
It's crazy. We live in Louisiana, like seafood capital of, or I think a very major contender of seafood in the United States, and we still will import shrimp because it's cheaper.
I have a public health timeline. May 1st, 2026 was the start of the CDC seasonal domestic surveillance period. So maybe like hurricane season, they have an explosive diarrhea season. Okay. So May to June, states began receiving unusually high number of reports. This June 17th, the FDA listed small Cyclospora investigation, including 2 cases in unidentified food. July the 8th, they published additional Cyclospora clusters involving unidentified publics. The 14th of July, they issued the Health Alert Network Advisory announcing, think this how quick, 1,645 domestic cases plus more than 5,100 reports under review. The 16th, the CDC and the FDA linked all 16 of those to 5 states. The 17th, FDA traced back named Taylor Farms to Mexico supplier, and Taco Bell stopped using the supplier's lettuce. And the 18th, and I guess that was yesterday or day before yesterday, detailed the food service recall was released, and the FDA announced a positive Cyclospora answer in the whole lot. There you go. That's how fast that it can. But look how quick it went from 2 to possible 5,000.
Crazy.
1,600 known.
Yeah.
With another 5,000 out there, and people are wondering.
Yeah, this is a pretty bad deal, but, they did have I saw here, I didn't realize this, they said in 2023, an Alabama restaurant outbreak. It involved 47 illnesses, and it was epidemiologically linked to cilantro, traced to Mexico.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, it's just like here. He says, a taco purchased in Ohio may contain lettuce grown in Mexico, processed by a California-based company, distributed through a national food service network, and investigated by several layers of government. And you wonder why it takes, almost 60 days for the FDA to actually realize what's going on.
Right.
And to actually try to identify where this is coming from, shut it down. And that just tells you how much food has been now put in shelves and people have bought and they're eating. And they could still be on people's refrigerators right now.
Yeah.
So.
Especially, like, again, because we're in this, because of the fact that it potentially could take so long for it to affect you, and it could last for so long. That's also the scary thing too. Is, again, like you said before, you haven't had a salad in a while, out of an abundance of caution, because, again, even if you had a bad salad a couple weeks ago, it could still potentially affect you coming up, and that's scary stuff.
Well, but I guess one of the other thing is that when you go to the doctor, this is not automatically tested for. Most panels, don't even test for this. This should be an automatic test, wouldn't you think?
Is it hard to discover?
I don't know.
Okay,
we need to look at that.
Yeah. I guess is there a proper way to clean? I know we've kind of joked around about using alcohol and using some other stuff. I don't
think there is. I mean, because of the nature of just leafy things or things that have a skin on them, and it's just, I mean, it's kind of natural for things to be on plants. I mean, it's just, that's kind of, the
evolution of things.
The evolution of things is just unfortunate that this particular parasite, where another parasite wouldn't do anything to you.
Right. Yeah.
It's just, how we, some things just hit you hard and other things are just, nothing happens to you. There's a lot of bacteria and probably things that we eat that don't do anything to us. And your gut contains a lot of bacteria and stuff in there. Well, naturally.
But from day one, we're protecting our children, our babies, so much. They say the best thing that you could do for your baby is to let it crawl on the New York subway floor, because we're not having the natural antibodies, and we're relying on people like Bill Gates to, solve that. No, we need the natural, antibodies and things, drinking bad water. We've cleaned ourselves up so much that something like this can come into disastrous effect.
Yeah, they say the Government Accountability Office issued a report in January of 2026 concluding that the FDA has not fully implemented all requirements of the 2011 Food Safety Modernization Act. Among its findings, some preventative guidance for growers remains unfinished. The FDA has not fully evaluated whether its prevention framework is reducing foodborne illnesses, and additional oversight and performance assessments are still needed. We've all talked about what's going on with a lot of cuts in government. I know when the Trump, came in, there was layoffs and such, and of course that kind of happens, but they say some lawmakers and public health experts argue that recent staffing reductions at federal health agencies have slowed outbreak investigations. Well, the problem is they were still having those problems when they had all those people there. So I don't know if I really buy that, which is, I mean, I get it, but I don't know if there's really, you could say that is the problem. I just think it's the nature of the food supply.
There was a list of states that received recalled market-side iceberg products: Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Missouri, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, and West Virginia. Those are the states that actually received some of the recalled lettuce.
Yeah, we're not going to use it. I have not heard anything here yet in Louisiana.
So, no, there's been a couple. I've heard there was a couple of possible cases.
Okay, because right, the CDC doesn't count it unless it's confirmed laboratory, in the laboratory. But there could be a lot of people going seeing the doctor going, this is what's going on. So I don't know. I mean, this is a. They said the agency said it was aware of more than 5,100 additional reported cases that were require more, for them to look at. So they said U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar Klobuchar of Minnesota urges CDC and the FDA to reinstate funding and staffing for federal and state food safety programs to fight the outbreak. He basically said this is an active and evolving investigation, so this thing is it's ongoing. I'd be very curious how extensive this ends up being. How many actual states total that when it's all said and done that were affected by this event. They said I know the company it removed certain ingredients at select restaurants for precautionary. U.S. health officials have not confirmed a link, but you know how that goes. So that, I'm sure the hospitals have probably received guidance from the CDC regarding if they see any patients that are exhibiting these sort of symptoms, that to be aware that could be what the problem is. Yeah, they said bigger staff told reporters that the CDC expects case reports will continue to increase potentially through the end of August.
Of course.
He said the agency said there was a roughly 6-week lag between the onset of the illness and the reporting of cases, which means more infections will likely be identified as additional data is received.
Everyone's got to be, oh man, you got to be real careful. If you had because we said it earlier in the episode too, any bags marked between like the middle of July up until the beginning of August, throw that stuff away.
Just throw it away.
Just throw it away.
I'm not touching anything right now.
I wouldn't eat any leafy green stuff until the middle of August.
At least.
At the least.
Right, yeah, I'm not eating any salads until then.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just not. I mean, I hate to do that because salad's so good for you.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to start growing my own.
Okay.
Maybe I need to start growing.
But you say that.
Okay.
You say that. When's the last time you went into any store and bought some fruits or vegetables?
Just today.
Okay.
And how many of them were seedless?
I don't know.
Everything is seedless now.
Yeah.
Seedless lemons and oranges, seedless watermelons, seedless tomatoes, seedless everything, because they don't want you to be able to grow your own. Because once they control the seeds, then you're going to have to eat by subscription is the way I feel it's coming. You want a tomato, get on our subscription list where you can get monthly tomatoes or potatoes or whatever.
I did some looking into this. Technically, some of the seeds from the fruits are actually copyrighted. So like
they are.
Yeah.
Yes,
you're infringing upon copyright by planting a seed in.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Farmers have been sued for using their own seeds.
Yep. Exactly. It's crazy.
Because I think, and we've talked about subscription services before, I think you're going to have to eat on a subscription-based thing now.
Yeah, so this kind of just reassures what I thought regarding all these, people talking about all these cuts. They say even before the cuts of 2025, we've known that our public health surveillance systems and our food safety systems leave a lot to be desired, says Amira Roes, a professor of global health and epidemiology at George Mason University and a former CDC Epidemic Intelligence Service officer. Barrett says responding to disease outbreaks is a complex process that involves lots of coordination between states and the federal government.
But you see, we could solve this whole problem, and I'll probably get arrested or assassinated. Oh, by the way, if listeners, you find out that I have committed suicide, please contact my law enforcement friends, because I didn't do it. Somebody did it to me. By going back to the local farms and the local ranchers and just buying your stuff locally sourced. We could solve a lot of these problems.
Yep.
Because how healthy was life when we did that? It wasn't until we started mass producing these things and needed to keep things on the shelf longer. So we started adding preservatives because we stopped doing it at the local guy and girls, and we needed it from, more nationwide source type things. bread used to have 4 ingredients. Now it's got 39.
Yep.
35 of which are petroleum-based chemicals because we need to keep it on the shelf for 2 to 3 weeks. What if you just went to people used to the neighborhood market. You had a neighborhood market with the ranchers, with the farmers, the baker, etc., and just got your stuff right there. When I lived in the French Quarter, you could go down to the French market and get the fresh loaf of bread, and you could get this and you could get that, and it was all right there, boom. And it was convenient, and you knew it was real, and you know who made it. You talked to them. You had a nice conversation. You talked about life. You talked about love. And you created a bond and a trust with people that I think we've completely lost in today's society. Mm-hmm. I mean,
yeah.
Well,
what can we do to get that back?
I don't know if you can. I've kind of often thought about what it would take to go back to people, in essence, becoming their own supply chain for food. And, I've just kind of bantered this kind of thinking in my head, and I've told people, there's kind of this movement of getting back out to the country and having land and growing their own gardens and stuff. But to go back to a time when you basically are your food, you are your food supply, which means you butcher your cows, you butcher your pigs, you butcher your chickens, you grow your own vegetables.
Yeah.
But then there was the barter system where you may have just been the farmer and your buddy down the road was the rancher. So you traded meat for, your produce and your chickens, and you got the eggs from the other guy. And I would love that.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, I mean, to go back to that, which I don't know how practical that would be in modern times. There's just, the amount of time in a day that you would have to devote to just food production.
Oh yeah.
There's no time. There's no time for anything else. So I don't think that's realistic. Now I do see maybe advances in agriculture where maybe people start growing their vegetables through hydroponics.
Yeah.
In hydroponic greenhouses and stuff like that, which to me is a very viable way of doing things where
my friend's grandma had like a big hydroponic thing, and she did she did sprouts and other kind of like
herb garden.
Yeah.
Well, I had a friend that had this huge hydroponic garden.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for vegetables.
We won't go into that.
Well, a lot of people do grow, marijuana via hydroponics, which is common. But I mean, I know a lot of people that grow vegetables and grow very good vegetables through hydroponics. So,
and I'm pretty sure you can keep it safe from pests and animals. And
I mean, depends on how much you're willing to spend on a proper greenhouse. With proper hydroponic system.
Yeah.
He did have vegetables too. Okay, he did both. I was just kind of making a joke.
Yeah.
But you know what he had in the vegetable water? In the water that
the solution. Yeah.
No.
What?
No. Goldfish.
Really?
They pooped.
They pooped and they fertilized it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it was completely off grid.
Yeah.
You didn't buy the solution from somebody else. You had the fish in there.
Natural fertilizer.
Fertilizer.
You buy fish food.
Yeah.
Put fish food and let nature take its course,
Crazy.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
When you think about
system,
it.
Yeah.
Completely off grid.
That's fun.
Well,
That's
they
really
say the FDA did establish a dedicated Cyclospora task force in 2019.
Okay. In 2019?
Yes.
What?
And released a multi-year cyclosporic prevention, response, and research action plan.
Well, they're falling short in 2026.
Now
I'm joking.
It says it's why is it taking back on this other deal I mentioned? They said why is it taking 15 years to fully implement the Food Safety Modernization Act?
Ooh.
Probably because it's going to require money to be spent by the actual producers and these companies, and they probably are resisting some of that. I'm just speculating. They said the FDA adequately funded and staffed to oversee nearly 80% of the U.S. food supply, because the food supply is all over the world. Mm-hmm. So you imagine if you're an FDA investigator, you're traveling all over the place. Yeah. So you're going to these foreign countries and seeing how they do everything. And yeah, I mean, it's.
But there was a study done and the corruption in the FDA officials.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm. Even in like the meat markets and butcher shops and things like that, it's beyond what we could even truly imagine. Mm. And they're supposed to be looking out for us. But guess what? Follow the money.
Yeah, you're right. It's all about the money. Especially when again, there's other countries that are willing to undercut and do it a lot cheaper.
I mean, it's, as I said, if you're trying to make more money for your investors, I mean, if anybody has stocks, I mean, they may bitch and holler about one thing, but the reality is, as long as they look at their portfolio and they make their financial guys call them and say, hey, stocks are doing good.
Yep.
You're not going to probably complain.
What was that restaurant that kept getting hit a couple of times?
I don't know.
Well, there was a
Chipotle. They got hit, and then they kind of recovered, and then they got hit again, making people sick. And I think 2 or 3 times they got popped, making people sick. So, eventually you got to do the right thing, right?
Well, I think eventually you get sued. Just like I said, that guy from Ohio is suing Taco Bell.
Yeah.
For that, so.
Do you blame him?
No, at all. But I don't know. I mean, Taco Bell, I mean, Taco Bell is relying on.
Well, then you know what? Taco Bell can sue
the supplier.
The supplier,
right?
You know what? Hey, we got tagged for this. Now you're gonna pay up. You caused this. It's on you now.
They said before the Food Safety Modernization Act was implemented, they said it was signed into law in 2011. The FDA largely responded after outbreaks occurred. Mm-hmm. This act required prevent contamination before it happens, regulate farms that previously had little federal oversight, require preventative control plans, create importer verification programs, establish new produce safety standards, and build a nationwide food traceability system. And so that meant writing entirely new regulations rather than simply updating old ones, which that's a very difficult process. Mm-hmm. And it's very time consuming to do because everything gets challenged. They said since 2015, the FDA has issued 9 major implementing rules that form the backbone of the FSMA.
I think it's funny now that people are they're cutting out processed foods, and now all of a sudden eating fresh produce is causing a Cyclospora outbreak.
They say, like,
you know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, come on, wait a minute.
Look at this.
You
many growers, processors, and grocery companies and trade associations argue that some of the rules, here you go, expensive, technologically difficult, and particularly burdensome for small farms and small businesses. And I can understand that. Mm-hmm. There is truth in all of that. Mm-hmm. The question is what's the balance?
Right.
What is the balance? I think we could do better
than
what we're doing now. You just can't simply say, well, it's too expensive to do. I mean, we have to come up with a way of preventing people from getting sick. I mean, just simply say, well, that's just the way it is. Oh, well, I just don't think it's acceptable. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is one notable example is the food traceability rule, which requires more detailed electronic records for certain high-risk foods. They said after industry concerns, the FDA extended the compliance date to July of 2028, saying additional time was needed for companies to prepare.
Well, remember when Mad Cow came out and they found that one cow that caused it? Mm-hmm. Wait a minute.
Yeah. They said they hopefully by July of 2028. So this time this month in 2 years, hopefully they'll work out the kinks on this stuff. But, you know, I mean, it's like anything. To me, this kind of reminds me of the mess that is the National Firearms Act and trying to get things registered, and the time and the inadequate systems that they utilize to basically check backgrounds and stuff. This is all typical government BS stuff.
Yeah.
They can't seem to get it together. They can't. So the FDA is no different from any other governmental entity, you know. So
no, I think they're worse. I think they're one of the worst ones. Food and Drug Administration is supposed to protect the American citizen, and they've done very little of that in any history that I can remember. Now, since the brain damage, I got less memory. But even before that, I can't remember a time that the Food and Drug Administration really took care of the American citizen. Think about this. Everything that they allow, Europe and other countries in this world have made illegal. You can't sell American bread in another country because of those other 35 chemicals that I described earlier.
Right.
Think about all the candies and the ice creams and the things that you can't sell outside of America because other countries had just said, hey, that's illegal.
Well, right now the FDA's they've got some problems right now.
Yeah,
they really do. The government accounting, they've one of the strongest criticism. It's not even established a comprehensive performance management process to determine whether the new prevention framework is actually even reducing illnesses. So basically, they haven't even built in the measuring metrics to determine if, you know, we're accomplishing what we need to accomplish. So they said it's tough. It says it really takes years to train experienced food investigators, making workforce turnover a long-term challenge, which I can imagine it is, because as soon as some guy probably gets trained up really well and is doing really good, guess what? Some company probably coming along with a big check, and he's gone, and that's the problem. I mean, it just is, which I don't necessarily blame them, but I mean, you know, the government trains you, and now the private company is paying you big dollars for that knowledge.
Right.
You know, so
or to let something slide.
Well, I mean, if you're paid, I mean, this kind of reminds me of the whole deal with cigarettes in the tobacco industry.
You're right.
Remember all that?
Yeah.
Cigarettes are, you know, they all went there and raised their hands and said they were going to tell the truth in front of Congress, and cigarette smoking had nothing to do with, you know, with carcinogens and the cancer involved with it. But, you know, money makes people do weird things.
Yep.
Yes, it really does.
Yes,
especially if it's going to cost me me living. You know, I won't have to live in the big house, and I won't have to be able to impress the ladies with how much money I can throw around, and families and kids are in private school and driving expensive cars. And, you know,
you need that $1,800 iPhone, and you need,
all that takes money.
You know, $60 haircuts, and you know, et cetera, et cetera.
Oof. It's crazy.
I don't know. I mean, this is Congress passed this law in 2011, and we're still 2026, and they still haven't worked it out.
Yep.
What's the quote? The only thing that saves us from bureaucracy is the crap. Oh, there's a quote. The only thing that saves us from bureaucracy is good. Ian's looking it up for us.
I'm looking it up.
Sorry about my brain damage, guys. I'm doing the best I can.
I'm not a very fast typer.
That's all right.
Yeah,
faster than me.
So the FDA officials told the Government Accounting Office they prioritize implementing the rules. Get this, before evaluating their overall effectiveness. So let's just throw a bunch of word garbage on paper so we can go to Congress and show, look what we've done. But in all reality, it's just an exercise in futility because it's not accomplishing what it's supposed to accomplish. So, I mean, it's just, they got to figure things out. I mean,
the quote is from former U.S. Senator Eugene McCarthy. The full quote is, "The only thing that saves us from bureaucracy is inefficiency, and efficient bureaucracy is the greatest threat to liberty."
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is. You think about it. It makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Sometimes people don't want things to work the way they need to work because now it might actually impinge on what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
that's a great quote. I'm glad I knew it. I just can't remember.
You need to place that quote at part of the episode under the link.
How about use that as the title?
Yeah.
That's probably a little long for a title, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, this is 2028.
That need to be the title. That would be a good title for another episode,
though. Right.
Yeah, the FDA is they really got to. And I'm a believer. I know a lot of people hate the FDA. I mean, unfortunately,
I'm one of those. I think it was one of those things that started off with great promise and a great idea, but it turned into something else.
Yeah,
a great intention, but
they were having problems back. I saw a John Oliver had a nice episode. He came out on his show a couple of years ago that I was able to watch, and they've actually been having problems with the FDA going back to the 60s.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's long.
I mean, you name it, 60. I mean, these reports go back a long way. So the idea that when people say, which is typical, you know, the minute you cut something, then it's, you know, it's the world's coming to an end because we don't have. They've been having these problems for a long time. So it's not about people. It's about processes. I think the food system has become so complex. The web is so just, you get little strands going everywhere. It is very difficult to respond, at least in the current framework, to respond to these things from, before, this kind of stuff happens. I don't know a way. I'll be honest with you. Now, this food traceability rule, maybe that might help if they can.
But they already have that. We already have gun control laws. We don't want to enforce them. We already have rules and restrictions for immigration. We don't want to enforce them. Welfare. We have rules and restrictions for who gets welfare, but not everybody wants a draw. I need my draw. Don't mess with my draw. I need my draw. So we don't want to enforce what we have. If we just enforced what we have, things would be a lot better and a lot easier and simpler. Okay. Welfare was not multi-generational payment to keep buying your vote, but that's what it's turned into now.
Right.
Immigration. There are laws for immigration.
Yeah.
Enforce them.
Right.
Like this woman from Canada. You seen this thing?
No, what's that?
She comes down. Her visa expired in 2024. She's here illegally. And then all of a sudden she sees this other young lady who has a MAGA hat on or MAGA stuff on, and she reaches up and knocks up, just piss out of her.
Really?
And now my butt hurt because you're arresting me. You can't arrest me. That's my First Amendment right. Number one, you are not an American citizen. You do not have a First Amendment right. You have no rights in America. You must be an American citizen to have American rights given to you by a higher power, not the government. It's that simple. You want those rights? Become a citizen.
Yeah.
Just like my wife. Everybody, you hate immigrants. No, I don't. I love immigrants. I married an immigrant. But how much money? And it cost her 11 years of her life to become a citizen.
Yeah.
She did it right. She is an American.
Yep.
And I love her very much.
There you go.
Well, this food traceability rule, I'm very interested in this thing because I'm trying to figure out what is driving this right now. And they said before this rule, investigators often relied on invoices, handwritten records, emails, and phone calls to reconstruct where food came from. That process could take weeks during which contaminated food might continue to be sold. This rule requires businesses handling certain high-risk foods to maintain standardized records so the FDA can quickly answer questions such as, where was the food grown, who processed it, which distributor shipped it, which grocery store or restaurants received it, and which specific lot or shipment is involved.
Yeah.
So if an outbreak occurred, the FDA can request these records, and businesses must generally provide them within 24 hours or another agreed upon time.
Yeah.
So,
which I've seen that before with other things like sodas or other like bottled drinks or milk or whatever. Like you get like batch numbers or lot numbers. So again, in case there's an outbreak, or ice cream. I think I heard the same thing. There was like a handful of years ago where like ice cream, they had like a big thing about it where like, again, if you had like a certain lot number, they were like, throw it out. If the number on the bottom was like this or whatever, throw those away because that's being recalled because of a contamination or whatever.
Yeah, they say the rule identifies specific moments when records must be created. So this is where you start getting the pushback from certain entities. So the growing, harvesting, cooling, initial packing, shipping, receiving, and transforming, such as chopping or repackaging. Each of these events is called a critical tracking event. That's pretty interesting, actually. I find.
Well, basically, I did a little thing here, and the clean explanation to this is the government wants food industry to maintain a standardized chain of records so investigators can trace contaminated salad, melon, fish, egg, or cheese backwards to its source and forward to every business that received it. And what's driving it is these outbreak investigators regularly lose the trail, okay? And then again, each company may use different lot numbers, product descriptions, computer systems, invoice formats, location codes, and date formats. I mean, looking at just the codes on stuff can be confusing at times. Maybe they want to standardize that too.
Yeah.
And the thing is, American food supply is global and highly centralized. That's what they want. Food can be grown in Mexico, packed by one company, processed in another, distributed through several warehouses, and served under multiple restaurant or store brands, which is kind of what I said earlier.
Yeah.
You know, you got the lettuce company packaging it for 4 or 5 different, retailers. So
just 2 scenarios. So just kind of let people know, without this rule, investigators interview patients, restaurants search old invoices, distributors contact suppliers, farms search shipping logs. Investigation can take weeks. With full traceability, the investigators identify the traceability lot code. The lot code reveals the processor. The processor identifies the farm. Okay. Retailers identify exactly which stores received the shipment, and only affected products are recalled instead of broad categories of food.
What they're saying is, not to interrupt you, but a lot of this is geared toward healthy foods that are often eaten without a kill step. Steak can be cooked. Lettuce, cilantro, sprouts, watermelon. You're not cooking that. Yeah. So the Cyclospora, the E. coli, the Salmonella, the Listeria, and other biological contaminants, they want a direct line so they can quickly trace this.
Yeah. So there is a function that happens. There is some order.
Well, it's like anything where you get more efficient. And he says, why is this controversial? And supporters will say it would speed outbreak investigations. It reduces illnesses, makes recalls more precise, and saves businesses from broad, unnecessary recalls. Critics, increases compliance costs, especially for small farms and businesses. I get that. I can understand that. Requires new software, labeling, and record-keeping systems. Can be difficult to implement consistently across complex supply chains, and still leave some ambiguity about how different businesses should comply with this. So basically, instead of saying avoid iceberg lettuce, with this system in play.
What you were saying earlier.
It says avoid lot XYZ 1, 2, 3 harvested on June 14th from Farm A. That would be nice.
Yeah. They gave a list of things, and I hope that I can say this with a straight face, but they gave a list of things. What this will include: leafy green vegetables, fresh cut greens, herbs, cucumbers, tomatoes, a lot of the oysters, clams, some of the fish, shrimp, crab, lobster, smoked finfish, and this one I got no clue, nut butters.
Okay. Yeah, like almond,
I hope
cashew.
I was going to say, I hope I can say that with a straight face.
Yeah.
But nut butters is in that. So, wow. A lot of your refrigerated, ready-to-eat deli salads, because that would have some of the same packaged stuff that got repackaged for something else.
Right. And like you said before, I didn't realize there was like a kill step or whatever they call that. Like it's like a cooking element for it.
And they're not, and because of this, they're not saying that every food is contaminated. They're just saying that the FDA believes these food categories warrant stronger tracing and accountability.
Yeah.
So, okay, hey,
Yeah. There is a process, even though it, it has its flaws. Which
they have a very specific list of what businesses will have to record: harvesting, cooling, initial packaging, first land-based receipt of seafood or said products, shipping, receiving, transforming, mixing, cutting, repackaging, packaging, or relabeling the food.
Wow.
Yeah, you're basically breaking down the process to its very individual components.
Well, because at that point, once you got, there's a lot of money involved, and the second some part of some part of that process is flawed, you got to be able to point out the one person and say it is your fault.
It almost seems like a Lean Six Sigma.
It is.
Yeah, it almost sounds like it's like you start Lean Six Sigma in the beginning, and go all the way to the end.
That's where they're trying to get this down, which I can understand. If you're not, if you're going to reduce, it's sort of like what the state of Louisiana went through under certain governors with the idea of doing more with less.
Yeah,
we have less people, but vice versa, you have to make the investments on the efficiency side, the computer systems, the software system, hardware, to be able to kind of compensate for the lack of people. And I think in this particular case, it's if you're going to have less FDA inspectors, then we need to make it to a point where less can actually do more. So which means you got to implement all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So there's only two ways of handling it. Either do it that way or hire a bunch of people and just flood people into, you double and triple the amount of FDA inspectors.
Well, they got 87,000 armed tax agents that the Biden crime family put in. Hey, we can redirect those to the FDA.
Yeah, to me, that should have been like I would have been more happy with 80,000 more FDA investigators than actually IRS people. But I understand why they were trying to do that.
Well, yeah.
Well, the rollout was supposed to be in 2022 for this thing. Okay. So, but they've missed that by a few days.
It's been
days
pushed back. So guys, this has been a here we are again, another outbreak. Be
careful.
Be careful what you eat out there.
Yeah, watch it, double check it. And I would try and stay away from a lot of that stuff until maybe.
Well, they've moved it to July 2028 as the next moving, the compliance date.
Bring everything, and I'll be very curious if they actually.
And the question is the current Cyclospora outbreak driving this to push it out there?
Because again, as we talked about before, there's a lot of money, and when no one wants to buy lettuce anymore, there's no one, anyone who has investments in lettuce, they're like, okay, let's get this stuff working, guys. But for anybody who wants to share their experience, obviously,
if you're explosive pooping, please do not send us pictures, but let us know.
We have comment sections on YouTube and on Spotify where you can leave some short form responses, and we also have an email address, offendedtogether@gmail.com, where you can send those long form responses. Be sure to like and subscribe on whatever platform you listen to us on, because it really does mean a lot. And share with somebody if you think they would like this, or if they wouldn't.
Or if they hate it. Not to interrupt right quick, but I want to throw something. Does anybody else remember Dumb and Dumber in the bathroom scene?
Yes.
Does this not remind y'all of that? This is the first thing that popped into my head. Okay, I'm sorry, guys.
You're good, yeah.
I remember that movie.
And until next week, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone, and God bless.
So let me get this straight. Meat, ticks, trigger alpha-gal. Healthy produce carries parasites, and actually exercise can make the symptoms worse. At some point, you have to ask, is this really bad luck, bad food safety, or are we slowly being trained to fear everything that once made us strong? You're the best. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Peace.